The happiness of your life depends upon a broken bar. Citizens of reason, let us consider where true happiness resides. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, not on the turnings of fortune's wheel, nor on the praises of the many, nor on the comforts that decay with time. What is outside the soul is like smoke, fleeting, shifting, beyond your command. But your reason, your judgment, your will, these are yours. Guard them, cultivate them as a gardener tends his grove. Do not squander your days in pursuit of what lies beyond your power. Wealth, reputation, pleasure, these are not the roots of contentment. Look instead within. Ask yourself, is my mind calm? Are my actions just? Have I governed myself today as nature would have me do? You are disturbed not by things, but by your opinions about things. Train your mind, then, to see with clarity, to greet hardship as a teacher, success as a trial, and all men as your kin. When anger tempts you, remember, it is brief madness. When desire pulls you, remind yourself, it is the bait that leads to bondage. No man is harmed by the truth. It is only resistance to what is, that breeds suffering. Accept what you cannot change, improve what you can, and in all things, carry yourself as one who was made for virtue and not comfort. Each morning, tell yourself, today, I shall meet with ingratitude, arrogance, deceit, but none of these can wound you, unless you first wound yourself by abandoning reason. So let this be your creed, to live simply, to do good, to think clearly, to die without complaint. And remember this above all, the happiness of your life depends upon the discipline of your mind. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, not wealth, not fortune, not the fleeting approval of others, but the state of your inner reasoning. This alone governs whether your days are light or heavy, whether you are free or chained. A man may be surrounded by luxury and yet remain wretched, because his mind is full of fear, envy, and desire. Another may sleep on a hard bed, unknown to fame, and yet be content, for his thoughts are disciplined, his judgments just, his soul at peace with what is. The mind is the ruler of life. As the body bends to the commands of thought, so too does experience. If you think yourself wronged, you suffer. If you think yourself lacking, you become restless. If you judge others as enemies, you live in suspicion. But if your thoughts are grounded in reason, if they rise from a root of self-restraint and justice, then no misfortune can shake you. Rain may fall, empires may crumble, but you stand steady, because your peace is not built upon sand. Consider, nothing can enter the soul unless you permit it. Words, insults, praise, even pain itself, for they are like birds passing overhead. Only if you invite them to nest do they remain. Why then would you harbor thoughts that stir anxiety, breed hatred, or corrupt your sense of what is right? Cast them out. Train your mind as you would train a wild beast, not through cruelty, but through patient discipline. Each thought is a seed. What you water will grow. If you dwell upon anger, anger will grow. If you meditate on virtue, then virtue shall bloom within you. To be happy is not to feel pleasure at every turn. Pleasure comes and goes, but happiness, a true happiness, is to live in accordance with your nature, and that nature is rational. When your thoughts align with what is good, just, and wise, then your actions follow, and your life becomes harmonious. Even in difficulty, you remain unshaken, because you do not depend upon externals. Your treasure lies within. Do not suppose, then, that changing your surroundings will bring peace. The man who flees his troubles only carries them with him in his mind. Instead, turn inward. Examine the quality of your thoughts as a builder examines the stones of a temple. Are they strong? Are they worthy? If not, discard them. You have the power, always, to choose what thoughts you allow to grow within you. Thoughts shape your vision of the world. If you see life as a burden, it becomes one. If you see hardship as training, it becomes a forge. Everything rests upon perception, and perception begins in thought. Therefore, let your thoughts be noble. Let them be guided by reason. Let them be free of vanity and fear. In this way, you will discover that happiness is not a prize to be seized, but a quiet companion that walks with those who govern themselves well. The happiness of your life depends upon the serenity with which you regard what lies outside your control. Much of human suffering is born not from events themselves, but from our refusal to accept that we do not command them. Storms will come, People will betray, health will fail, and fortunes will rise and fall like the tide. These things are not within your grasp, and therefore they must not be the foundation upon which you build your contentment. The man who anchors his peace to things beyond his reach is like one who builds a house upon the sea. What lies outside your control is not your concern, not because it is unimportant, but because it is not yours to govern. You are not appointed master of fate, only steward of your own soul. You do not determine the weather, the words others speak, or the number of your days, but you do determine your response to all of these. You possess the ability to meet misfortune with dignity, insult with silence, and success with humility, and it is this power, this self-commander, that separates the free man from the slave, the joyful from the tormented. Happiness falters when the soul stretches itself toward things that evade its grasp. You may desire the admiration of others, but their opinions are theirs, not yours. You may crave long life, but the end comes when it will, no matter your pleading. You may wish for ease, but life does not promise comfort. It only offers the opportunity to live well, and to live well is to live in accordance with what is within your command, your thoughts, your actions, your will. To be disturbed by events is to forget their nature. What happens, happens according to causes far beyond your reckoning. The stars do not ask for your permission to move. The seasons do not shift for your convenience. You are a part of the order of things, not the maker of the order. And once you see this clearly, you are freed. Freed from the burden of trying to rearrange the world to fit your desires. Freed from the folly of wishing reality were otherwise. Free to focus on your own conduct, on whether it is just, temperate, and wise. The man who accepts what he cannot change is not defeated, he is victorious, for he has conquered his inner rebellion against the way of things. He no longer demands that life bend to him, he bends to life without breaking. He finds joy not in possessing the world, but in mastering himself, and in doing so, he becomes immune to the chaos that rattles others. Let the winds blow, let the critics speak. Let fortune turn her face or show her back, it matters not. What matters is whether your soul remains steadfast, for the happiness of your life does not depend upon events, but upon how you meet them. And when you cease to concern yourself with what lies beyond your power, you begin to discover a deeper peace, one not shaken by the movements of the world. The happiness of your life depends upon where you seek contentment, and it is virtue, not pleasure or praise, that yields the soul at peace. Pleasure is fleeting, a momentary spark that dies as quickly as it flares. Praise is the echo of another's voice, not your own, and to rely on it is to tie your joy to the whims of the crowd. But virtue, honesty, courage, justice, self-control is enduring. It does not require applause to exist, nor does it fade when comforts are absent. It lives within, constant and unshaken, as a wellspring of true contentment. Pleasure deceives. It dresses itself in beauty, offers escape, and flatters the senses, but leaves the soul hollow when it departs. To chase pleasure is to drink salt water. It deepens your thirst while pretending to satisfy it. The man who lives for comfort will find himself undone when hardship arrives, as it always does. The one who feeds only on indulgence will have no strength when discipline is demanded, but the man who builds his life upon virtue finds that even in hunger, even in pain, he is not lacking, for he is all that truly matters, mastery over himself. Praise, too, is a false pillar. To depend upon the approval of others is to become a servant of their judgment. Their praise may lift you one day and abandon you the next. A crowd cheers what it does not understand and condemns what it fears. What value, then, is there in being called good? If you are not truly good, seek not to be praised, but to be worthy of praise whether it comes or not. Your conscience must be your witness, your actions your measure. Virtue does not glitter, yet it endures. A man who acts justly, who speaks the truth, who resists anger, who offers kindness when none is expected, he carries a treasure no thief can steal. His joy is quiet, but it is rooted deep. It does not falter when trials come, because it is not based on what happens, but on how he chooses to meet it. A virtuous life is not always easy, but it is always rich. It offers no illusions, only clarity, no flattery, only truth, and in that truth lies freedom. The happiness of your life does not come from the sweetness of pleasures or the loudness of praise. It comes from the harmony of your soul with what is right. It comes from waking each day and knowing that your conduct aligns with the highest within you. When you live by virtue, your joy is no longer a hostage to circumstance. You may suffer, but you will not despair. You may lose, but you will not be lost, for you possess yourself fully, and that is the only possession that matters. When you turn inward and build your joy upon virtue, you are no longer at the mercy of the world, or you are free. The happiness of your life depends upon the way you perceive and interpret the world around you. You are not disturbed by events themselves, but by your judgments of them. The world moves according to its own laws, indifferent to your hopes and fears. It rains when it will rain. People act according to their own nature. Fortune rises and falls with no thought of your desires. Yet it is not these things that disturb your soul, it is your opinion about them, your belief that they should have been otherwise, that they are unjust or unbearable. Pain is not in the event, but in your resistance to it. Loss is not in the thing lost, but in the story you attach to it. When you say, "This should not have happened," you invite suffering. When you demand that life conform to your will, you create conflict between reality and desire, but reality does not yield. It is your thoughts that must bend, not the world. When you change your judgment, you change your experience. Two men may endure the same trial of poverty, insult, illness, and yet one remains composed, while the other collapses. Why? Because the one interprets it as misfortune, the other as opportunity or necessity. The event is the same. The suffering is not in the event, but in the judgment. You choose what meaning to give it, and in that choice lies your peace or your torment. To master your judgments is to master your emotions. Anger comes not from the action of another, but from your belief that you have been wronged. Fear arises not from the unknown itself, but from your belief that the unknown holds harm. Envy is born not from the success of others, but from your belief that their gain diminishes your worth. Remove the belief, and the emotion dissolves. Examine your thoughts closely. Ask whether they serve you, whether they are rooted in truth or in habit, pride, or illusion. Life is not obligated to please you. Others are not bound to act according to your standards. The universe owes you no ease. When you accept this, not in bitterness but in clarity, a great calm begins to grow. You cease arguing with reality, and in doing so, you reclaim your strength. Events will continue to unfold. People will still speak without thought, act with selfishness, change without warning, but you will not be shaken, because your peace will no longer be held hostage by what you cannot control. The happiness of your life depends upon your ability to rule your inner world. Govern your mind, for it is the seat of judgment. Let no passing misfortune convince you that you are ruined. No passing success convince you that you are safe. See each event clearly, stripped of the stories your fears would wrap around it. Respond with reason, not impulse. Choose the thought that steadies rather than scatters. In this way, you will find that nothing outside you can disturb your peace unless you first give it permission through your judgment. The happiness of your life depends upon your ability to discern what is within your power and what is not, and to live accordingly. Accept what you cannot change, act justly where you can. This is not a call to resignation, but to clarity. There are many things over which you have no authority: time, death, the actions of others, the course of nature. To struggle against these is to invite needless sorrow, and no amount of resistance will halt the turning of the world. Yet within you there is a kingdom over which you hold absolute command, your own thoughts, your choices, your conduct. There, and only there, must your energy be spent. To accept what you cannot change is not weakness, it is wisdom. The river flows as it will, not as you would have it. The wise man does not curse the current, he learns to navigate it. Misfortune, injury, loss, these come to all. They are written into the conditions of life. What profit is there in complaint? Will it undo the event? Will it lessen the blow? Number. But what it will do is corrode the spirit, fill the heart with bitterness, and cloud the mind with resentment. Accept, then, not in passivity, but in dignity. Stand as one who knows that some things lie beyond command, and that railing against them serves no purpose. Yet acceptance does not mean inaction. You are not a stone to be cast about by fate. There is a sphere in which your will is sovereign. Your choices, your words, your deeds. In this sphere, act justly. Let your conduct be shaped not by anger or despair, but by reason and virtue. Help where help is possible. Speak truth where silence would betray. Offer kindness even when the world gives you cruelty. Do what is right not because it guarantees reward, but because it is right. Justice is the expression of a life lived in harmony with reason. When you act justly, you fulfill your purpose as a human being. You may not control outcomes, but you can control intentions. You may not win every battle, but you can fight with honor. And this, in the end, is where happiness resides, and not in victory or ease, but in the integrity of your soul. To live well is to live in accord with nature, to accept the unchangeable as part of the order of things, and to shape your actions within that order to reflect wisdom and virtue. There is peace in this posture, a deep, enduring peace that is untouched by the chaos of the world. You cease to be a slave to fortune because you no longer expect it to obey you. You cease to be tormented by the failures of others because you no longer take responsibility for their souls. You focus only on what is your own thoughts, your own deeds, and in that narrow field, you find freedom, and in freedom, you find happiness, quiet and steadfast, like a flame that does not flicker in the wind. The happiness of your life depends upon how you choose to live each day, how you carry yourself through the world, and how you govern your thoughts. Live simply, do good, think clearly. This is the way of peace. This is the path that frees the soul from the confusion and restlessness that come with chasing what is unnecessary. Simplicity brings freedom, goodness brings harmony, and clarity brings truth. In these three things, the foundation of a content life is laid. To live simply is not to live poorly, it is to live without excess, without the burdens of constant desire. The more you possess, the more you are possessed. The more you chase luxury, the more you depend on it. A simple life is not lacking, it is rich in what matters. It makes room for reflection, for gratitude, for presence. It removes distractions so the soul may be still. Why crowd your life with things that do not feed the spirit? Why seek what glitters but leaves the heart empty? Let your wants be few and your days unburdened. Let your home be one of modesty and peace. In simplicity, there is strength. To do good is the natural duty of a rational being. You were not made to take, to harm, or to deceive. You were made to serve, to uplift, to live in accordance with justice. Every day brings choices. Will you respond with patience or anger, with generosity or indifference? The happiness of your life grows with each small act of goodness, not because others will praise you, but because doing what is right aligns you with your true nature. You become whole, undivided, when your actions match your values, even when no one sees, even when it costs you comfort. Do good. This is the seed of peace that grows within and does not wither. To think clearly is to see the world as it is, not as fear or desire would paint it. A confused mind is a restless one, easily shaken by circumstance, but a clear mind sees order where others see chaos. It does not invent suffering where there is only change. It does not blame others for what belongs to fortune. Clarity comes from examining your thoughts, stripping away false beliefs, and holding yourself to the discipline of reason. Do not let emotion rule over judgment. Feel, but do not be led blindly by feeling. Step back, reflect, and act with purpose. These three are simplicity, goodness, clarity are not grand gestures. They are quiet decisions made each day, in how you speak, in what you pursue, in how you respond to hardship. When you live simply, you have less to fear. When you do good, you have nothing to regret. When you think clearly, you are not misled. Together, they form the ground upon which happiness stands, and not happiness as fleeting pleasure, but happiness as enduring tranquility. A soul at rest, a mind in order, a life guided by reason and virtue. This is where true happiness is found.